Hey everybody, happy Saturday here. Nick Slavik, proprietor of the Nick Slavik Painting and Restoration Company, also the host of Asset Painter Live, a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a craftsman and a business owner to answer any of your questions. And as I always say, if I don't have the answers, the people who are associated with this show do. So today it is Saturday, and we are not doing our normal time, our normal date. Yesterday, I was actually on a video shoot for 3M. I have one of my favorite production companies out there, Shinebox from Minneapolis, was producing it, and we were shooting a product video for 3M. And so it was involved with the deck restoration process. I kind of planned on maybe wedging one in over lunchtime, but I was needed and I couldn't do it. So I'm coming to you live from the war room on this Saturday here, and I thought I would go over another sort of typical thing that I think about all the time, especially because 2020 is the year of mastering the basics. This has been the theme for the year for me personally, professionally. It's been the theme for my own business, and it's been the theme for this show, Ask a Painter. So I am going to tackle, through a thought experiment, one of the most frequently questions that I get, which is, what do you charge for X? What do you charge for a bedroom? What do you charge for the outside of a house? What do you charge for whatever? Now, simple question, right? But it's got about 10 different tentacles that line up with other things. So you can't just answer that one question. That is a lifelong discussion about certain things. Experience can guide that. Production rates can guide that. Production rates are gathered from experience. And then you can also take market rate, which is very tough. I have an entire master's class on this. It takes about 3 or 4 hours. We do experiments on pricing, and still, it's not a perfect thing, but it gets you closer. It teaches you how to think about it. And knowing the answer to what do you charge for X or how much money should I make this year it's a little bit squishy. Just knowing the answer, just like when you're in school, knowing the answer to a test isn't important as knowing how to learn or how to think about those answers or about solving the problem. So I have a very simple spreadsheet here I'm going to pull up for you guys today. Now, I love doing these things more than anything else. This is basically my way. I'm going to just do a quick audio check here. All right, it looks like we're good. Let me just check another audio setting just to make sure. All right, I think we're good. All right, I love thought experiments. I love taking an entire year. I love extrapolating out data. I love taking things that we know, including things we don't know, and coming up with decisions. So we're going to back into this question 2 ways. We're going to do it front ways, and then we're going to do it back ways. So we're going to start with things that we know. Number one, I use a standard bedroom wall repaint as a commoditized painting project. So basically, it's one of those things like we could use a very unique old historic home or something like that, but not a lot of people can relate to that. Every single painter in the United States has completed multiple standard-sized bedroom repaints. So we're talking about 15-foot by 15-foot bedroom wall repaint only. No trim, no closet, no ceilings, no doors, no windows, nothing, just walls. We're going to mask off the woodwork. We're going to patch the walls, sand the patches, 2 coats of really good paint, deep wrap everything, and move the furniture back. So we're going to start with things that we do know. The thought experiment goes, how much money should I make this year? Thinking about what should you charge for X is only a little portion of this. So take some things you know right now. So let's just say you charge $400. Now let's make that $300 to paint that bedroom. That includes material and labor. Now what we have to figure out is how many hours does it take you to paint that bedroom? So I can do standard bedrooms in about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes. But the mean, the average, is probably about 4 hours. So we're just going to say it takes somebody about 4 hours to do that. And if you spit that through the algorithm here, it'll basically tell you, you're going to complete 2 bedrooms in an 8-hour day. Very similar. But when you start getting higher with your numbers, that's an important thing to follow. Basically, another thing that I love to do is, here are some notes. We know that there are 261 working days in a year. Just Google it. How many working days are there in a year? You can go by weeks, you can count the days, all this and that. If you go by 8-hour days, it's 261. If you do a 4-day work week, it's going to be obviously less than that. So Basically, that will say, if you do this, you're going to complete about 522 bedrooms in a year. That's 2 bedrooms a day, 261 working days. Now, again, I know nobody does this. This is a thought experiment. We always mix in other projects too. Now, what we have to figure out, though, another useful piece of information, this whole thing is basically just put in some stuff it'll shoot out some stuff that you maybe don't know, just by using standard logic and reasoning and some things you know. What is your estimate success ratio? So this means you do 10 estimates, how many of those 10 turn into jobs? So for me, it's about 48%, give or take, so we'll just call it 50%. Some people are higher, some people are lower, depending on what you do. So that basically says that we're going to need to estimate about 1,044 bedrooms per year. Now, obviously, by experiment, we don't just do bedroom repaints, but if every single bedroom was its own estimate, you would have to do 4 estimates a day in order to produce that. Now, obviously, that's, you can do 4 estimates a day, but you're probably not going to be also painting 2 bedrooms and doing 4 estimates a day. That would be a very long day. But that basically just tells you if each bedroom is an individual estimate. Now, if you did, 2 bedrooms per estimate, it would be half that, things like that. But the most important thing is, if you charge $300 a bedroom and you can do 2 bedrooms in a day, assuming you have enough estimates to keep you busy, you should take in about $156,000 of revenue per year. Very important. I made a note down here too. Revenue is not pay and profit. Pay is what you pay yourself or what you would pay somebody to do the work, and profit is the stuff left over after the owner pays himself, after the employees are paid, and after the paint is paid for. That money left over for the reward of running a business. So again, you do not make this $156,000 a year because you need to pay taxes, you need to pay paint, you need to pay for a vehicle, for supplies, things like that. So this is just revenue. Generally speaking, a paint company, a large paint company, 10 plus painters, it should pay its owner about 6 to 7% of revenue, and then there should be about a 15% profit. So you're probably looking at 20 to 22% of this. I'll show you the math here. Equals this times 0.22. So generally speaking, an owner would make about this for a very large size company. Now, the difference is when I see a single person painting company, I don't see 7% owner pay plus 15% profit. I generally see something in the lines of that person is taking home about 40%. So again, not trying to numbers, everybody's going to run a different business, but you charge $300 a bedroom, you paint 2 bedrooms a day, you should bring $156,000. For that, you should take home at least $62,000 of real pay and profit per year as a single person painting business, something like that. I'll leave that in there. Now, you guys have any questions? Certainly type them into the feed here. I'm just going to make sure our feed's still working. Audio is okay. All right. All right, looks like we're doing okay. All right, so now we're going to back end into this again. We're going to take these same sets of numbers, change them, go backwards into them, and then see if there's some other information we can pull out. So that basically says, how much money should I make this year? So when you're thinking about, there's things you're out there operating in the world. You are charging people X for something. But then this big question is, I know what I charge for something small, but what should I be making a year? You can use an experiment like this in order to figure that out. Now, let's say you're only an exterior painting company. You can just take your average size exterior of a house and say, yeah, it's usually $6,800, give or take. Well, put that in there. Instead of a 15 by 15 foot bedroom, just say, the average 2,700 square foot house, we charge $6,800, give or take. This is how many of those houses that we're going to have to do in a year. So now, here's a really fun experiment. I want to make X this year. And so right now you can say, this one started with, how much should I make based on, it starts off with a simple commoditized paint business, paint project. Now, what's more interesting is I want to make this per year. Let me make sure I feel all good. Look over here. All right. I want to make X. These are fun things. So let's let's start with this here. Some information has already come bumped down from the top. Hours to paint a bedroom, that copied from the top one, your 50% success ratio. Now we're going to say, I think we're going to take it about, I was talking with another painter, a fellow Minnesota painter this year, and he said he's got about 5 or 6 painters, give or take. He wants to take in about 500,000 this year. So let's say, okay, we're trying to hit that $500,000 mark. So you know what? Let's start with this small. Let's try to get to the 100,000 mark. Let's try to bring in $100,000 worth of revenue in this company. Again, not profit and pay. This is just doing enough work to bring in checks or deposits for $100,000. It still takes us 4 hours to paint a bedroom. It takes us 2 bedrooms a day, 522 bedrooms a year, 50% success ratio. We have to do 1,044 estimates per year, 4 estimates a day. Painters need 1. Now, there's things we know. The average painter should create about $110,000 to $100,000 worth of revenue per year, employees or owners like that. So basically, this spits out we'll need 1 painter. If you're going to do this, you only have to charge $192 per bedroom if you do 2 a day every working day, 261 days per year. Now, what gets interesting is this kind of solves the problem of, listen, I want to grow to about a $500,000 paint company, 500,000. And like I said, I was talking to a fellow paint business owner here in Minnesota, and he wants to cross the $500,000 mark. If you were to just paint bedrooms, this is what that would look like. You'd still be doing your 4 hours to paint a bedroom. You would need 5 painters that year. And if you're a single person, you would need to charge about $958 per. Now, if you take this divided by 5 painters, you would still need to charge about that 192. You would just need 5 painters this year. So, very interesting. If you're a single person painting company, you want to make $500,000, you got to charge $1,000 a bedroom. Since we can't do that, you're going to need about 5 painters. So you can take you plus 4 and give that'll basically help you out with that. So, as always, if you guys would like this template to mess around with it, all you have to do is email me, nick@nickslavik.com, and I will send it to you. I have a small ask for people who want these. I usually ask to just ask you to review my Ask the Painter live show. So thanks again, everybody, for this. I just thought I would share a quick and dirty thought experiment like this. My year is a series of thought experiments where when you're trying to solve problems, you basically, it's a little bit first principle reasoning of breaking things down to their basics and building them up. But basically what I like to start off with is, how did you ever figure out this problem? I don't know what it is. I don't know the things that you need to do to get it. Make a list of all the things you know. There are a whole bunch of things we know already, and making a list and writing those down will be a good guide for you guys. And then make a list of the things you want to solve, and then just start messing around with the numbers and try to do it for you. So, all right, everybody, thank you for tuning in to a special live Saturday show here. Again, I will send this to you, but you have to email nick@nickslavik.com. I will send this to you and make small ads. So, family time for me now, guys. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next week.